Good morning and welcome. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason here on this Monday. I hope all of you had a fantastic weekend. I hope all the moms out there were able to, if not spend time with their kids, at least have their kids reach out to them because, you know, in this world gone mad, everybody lives everywhere nowadays. But happy Mother's Day belated to all the moms out there. 800-951-0592. That's our toll-free number. And I'm just going to tell you now, it's going to be a little complicated today. We've got 3 different specials. We try not to do this, but hey, when they come, they come. So be ready for those. We've got Joey with us today, as we do every Monday, right? When people are talking about banks, especially with where do I have the rest of my money? Where that not in gold and silver. Well, I suggest having it in a non-banking institution is probably a good idea. And then, well, you know, not by accident, my son happens to work for the very best one, you know, the one, they got a higher credit rating than the U.S. government. I mean, that's what we're talking about with Northwestern Mutual. They had the list out, the largest banks by deposit. Obviously, J.P. Morgan, number 1, followed very closely by Bank of America, then Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and U.S. Bank are the top 5. PNC, Truist Bank, Capital One, Goldman, TD Bank, rounding out the top 10. But, you know, as we've said here, that's where the majority of the money is. It's always in just such a small handful of banks. You know, it actually makes the system a lot more dangerous by having the vast majority of this money, Joey, in so many, in so few places.
Yeah, it does bring a lot of concern, you know, especially with these smaller banks. You know, they're just not big enough where the government's going to be bailing them out. You know, if we got money with a credit union or a smaller bank, I think it'd be very important to look at other places to stash your cash away. The money's just sitting in savings account at these banks. I recommend maybe looking to see if they offer a money market. Get yourself 4%. But Northwestern Mutual, the company I'm partnered with, by no means are we a bank. We are an investment financial firm company that helps clients grow their dollars for them to make sure that we're achieving and planning for our goals. And you know, a lot of people I talk to, well, they've got $100,000 sitting in cash. They've got $500,000 in investments, but they're just not doing it or deploying their assets in the best way possible in terms of, 1, being conservative and making sure we're not losing all of our hard-earned dollars. And 2, the biggest thing is the way we're structured tax-wise isn't to people's, you know, best interest. The whole thing, or the biggest thing that we do for a lot of clients that have these high amount of assets is restructuring it to make sure that we're more tax efficient. You know, when we draw analysis and things like that, yeah, maybe we're returning 6%, 9%, 10%, whatever the projection is. But what's not on that projection is that we're saving clients around 3% year over year just in restructuring to be more tax efficient. And that's a big benefit that we're giving to a lot of our clients that are, you know, they have more assets than the average individual.
Yeah, and 3% every year. I mean, you know, that adds up really, really fast. You know, it's so funny. The Federal Reserve, right? They're saying, well, we just want 2%. They're nowhere close to that right now. But just by simply restructuring portfolios, it's amazing how many people, the amount of money people could be saving when you talk about 3%. You know, At first, well, gosh, that does, 3%. I mean, that's a little bit of money. That's not, tons of money, but it really adds up fast. Did we lose him?
Sorry, you cut out there. I just got 3%.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, 3% doesn't sound like a lot. When you say, well, it's a 3%, but that kind of money adds up really, really quickly, especially with people that, hey, I've got $1 million, I got $500,000, I got $5 million. That adds up really fast.
It adds up super fast. You look at things like compound interest year over year, you make 6% on the dollars, it grows, and now you're adding an extra 3% that you normally would have gave to Uncle Sam. We're putting more money into our clients' pockets, not by asking for dollars, but just by helping them implement some simple things in their portfolios to make it more tax efficient. And on the other side of that, now we're way more diversified as well. Listen, the stock market is what it is. It's going to be a roller coaster. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. But how do we make sure we play defense when it goes down and offense when it's going up? And we put these into place. We have these structures there, and we make sure that we're constantly monitoring all of these and all the stuff that's going on so that our clients don't have to. The fact of the matter is, you work 8 hours a day. You work 10 hours a day. You go home. You take care of the family. Maybe you watch a little TV show if you have the time. The last thing you're going to want to do is to look at the Wall Street Journal and do this education, which is what we're doing for our clients day in and day out.
We'll be right back with more with Joey and Northwestern Mutual right after the break. Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour, 800-951-0592 is our toll-free number. We have Joey on the line with us from Northwestern Mutual and talking about what they're seeing. And again, like a lot of places, right? Joey's been seeing, right, a big increase in customers calling, rolling over their money, trying to get their money out of the banks, and a little more. I guess, you know what, we talk about it all the time, right? Diversification. And listen, you don't put all your money into gold and silver. You don't put all your money into stocks and bonds. You don't put all your money into housing. The same is true with where you put your money, right? You can't leave all your money at one financial institution, especially if you've got a lot of money, right? I mean, you just can't do it. But Joey, I guess the thing that really is clear today, what you're seeing with these people that are coming over is, holy cow, you guys, we just a simple little restructuring here is actually going to add another 3% to your returns just by being more tax efficient.
Right, exactly. And there's things we're doing for people that's adding 3%. That's adding the educational value. We're adding the relationships. There's the face to your money, and you actually know who you're calling, day in and day out to figure things out. But we're doing so much for our clients up front that it's priceless. We don't charge for the time, and by making that phone call and having that conversation with us, they're able to save 3% on taxes, reallocate their portfolio to be more diversified, educate them on different financial planning tools, and really just putting people in a way better spot than they were yesterday. Right. And
what about money markets? Because I know I don't mean to cut you off, but what about money markets too? Because I know some people, hey, I like to have my money in a money market because I get a little bit of a return. They pay a little bit of interest, but I may need access to it. So that way, you know what? Maybe I don't want to be necessarily invested in the stock market with that money, but it's money that, at least for right now, I don't need, but I may have a need for it down the road. You guys offer that as well.
We offer that as well. Money markets are yielding around 3 to 4%. That's something you can do, through a local bank, or you can do it through someone like us, right? Who knows where the money is. We can help it. And as interest rates continue to rise, well, these money market accounts will yield more. But as interest rates die down a bit, hey, we'll go from 4 to 2, and then as time goes on, we'll look to restructure and repurpose those dollars. But that's something that we do for clients, and we don't take a commission on. Right? We just help them get that implemented and put it in place for them. And it's small little nuances to things like that that people could be utilizing that they just don't know about. Right? So that's what we're doing there. We're educating people, hey, we got money that we want to save or lock up for 6 months, but what are some good things I should do in the short term to do it? I wouldn't tell you to go invest in stocks and bonds. I would tell you to utilize something that's pretty safe, which is the money market accounts. You know, JP Morgan has one. We have one. There's a lot of access to it, but as we've mentioned, we don't want to keep all of our money in a bank. Why not partner with an investment firm that doesn't operate like a bank and isn't a bank, and one that's AAA rated and that fulfills their promises to their clients that they make? Right? So I urge people, if this is something that's been on your mind, or you have assets sitting in cash, or you're just looking to develop a relationship, or one, just find out how we're tracking for goals like retirement. I urge you to make a phone call to me and my team, and let's have a conversation. Let's figure out what's going on. And if my team and I can be a resource for you, we'd certainly be more than happy to do so. But it all revolves around learning more about you and what you're planning for and what you have going on. And from there, we can really be of service and provide some value to you. And at the very least, just some clarification on where we're at today based on what we're currently doing.
Yeah, it would be. Isn't that a nice thing? Hey, maybe you're 55, maybe you're 50, maybe you're 65. Hey, where am I tracking? How much do I need to be? Because I know one of the things, obviously, full disclosure, right? I'm one of Joey's clients, and talking about, hey, Dad, you don't need to be this aggressive. Right, you're setting yourself up. You don't need to risk taking big losses like people did last year because you're tracking already. Those are things that can be nice to know for people.
Yeah, I mean, it's super nice. 9 times out of 10, clients are leaving our meetings pumped up because like, oh wow, I'm doing a lot better than what I thought I was doing. Recently we've had a lot of people with a ton of assets and a lot of KHNC listeners calling in. And, the biggest concern is I don't think we're tracking, or I don't think we're doing enough. And just by running these analysis, repurposing portfolios, hey, we're more than on track for retirement. And now the question is, do we retire earlier? Do we buy a secondary home for retirement? Or do we just go on more vacations every year? These are the conversations we're having now with clients after implementing some basic things and helping them get on track. It wasn't us telling them to make more money. It was, hey, let's just be more tax efficient. Let's solidify our positions. Let's get more diversified. And now we can start talking about the fun things and start planning for our goals that we have, and not just living a bare bones $3,000 a month off Social Security every year. Now we've got a plan in place to withdraw these dollars so that we can live the life that we want to when we reach retirement.
Joey, how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, you just reach me at my personal cell, which is 602-909-9048. Again, that is 602-909-9048. Just shoot me a phone call or a text. If I do not answer, please leave a voicemail, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But to everyone out there listening that's been thinking about calling or hasn't done it yet, I'd urge you to make the phone call. You'll leave the conversation at the very least a lot more excited than you were before, and really want to emphasize, do not get paralyzed due to what's going on. It's best to take some action, get an education, and really figure out on how we're tracking for the goals we have for ourselves.
There you have it. That's Joey, Northwestern Mutual, 602-909-9048. 9048. We have him on here pretty much every single Monday to bring it to you, and just what he's seeing out there. It really is. It's something where it's surprising. You know, take it from me. It's surprising. You know, here I am. I'm a financial guy. I'm watching the news all the time, and we're reporting on all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, you have this conversation, and your eyes get open. You're like, "What? Well, I didn't even know that. Wait, I can actually make money by just moving a few things around and save on taxes and all this other stuff. And hey, you know what? I'm tracking really well. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm not tracking well enough. Whatever it may be, Joey can give you those answers. So reach out to him. It really is. It's true. When you're done with it, you'll feel better about it. That's the same thing, Jason. Our customers say when they make that first purchase in the gold and silver, they start feeling better about what they're doing.
That's right, Joe. It's, you use somebody else for financial reasons to help you where you're lacking. And, you don't have to, well, first of all, you can be a financial expert and learn about all this stuff if you want, or you can just not be, but you got to know at least where to go and that you have a need to take a look at what you're doing. And so there's many options that we offer, Joe, on just this show every day. So I advise people to, call the 800 number for gold and silver is my number one. That's the number one for people with simple economic situations. The number one thing in my book is you have to be saving money. That's it. Number one, gold and silver is the safest and most logical. Then stuff like Y-Refi and Joey coming in and with Northwestern Mutual. These are all things that you get more sophisticated and start putting your money in other places to try to keep up with the times that we're in, Joe, which is the reality is we're the little people and we're supposed to be giving up everything we've got to the lords of the land. And there's ways to at least try to keep more of it in your pocket, Joe, and if you're lucky, you can grow it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Everyone's got to pay taxes. Right? That's just how it is. You have to pay it, but you want these billionaires. Listen, they hire entire teams of lawyers and tax accountants to pay the littlest amount possible. Well, we're not billionaires. We don't have, tax lawyers, and that's why you call Joey. His team does. That's what they do. Be tax efficient, and give the least amount possible that you can legally give. It just makes great sense. And when he starts talking about, on average, what we're seeing is, people are paying 3% more of their money to the government than they need to. That's substantial. When you think about, 10 years later, that's 30%. You're paying 3% a year too much. That they can help you. It's worth the phone call, absolutely, just to make sure that it's not happening. 602-909-9048. And man, this week, we're going to get retail sales this week. Already there's been hints that this number is going to be softer, and again, it's every month. It seems like a little softer, a little softer, a little softer. We're also going to get a lot of Fed speakers. We got Bostic already out today. Goolsbee from Chicago was out today. And it's kind of funny, Jason, because on the one hand, Goolsbee, who had a vote in the Fed meeting, it was really close to me saying no to a rate hike. But, but I did it anyway, but it was close. Bostic was kind of on the other side saying, listen, I want people to know, just because, and he hadn't said it yet, hey, just because we may pause doesn't mean that we're going to be lowering rates, right? He's trying to counteract all these billionaire guys that I like. They're all telling you, hey, by the end of the year, the Fed's going to be cutting rates. The Fed is still trying, Jason, to say, no, that's not going to happen. And I kind of get it, right? Because I think the Fed, they agree with what you and I are saying, which is, listen, we're going to be slowing down even more, yet prices are still going to stay high. And I think that's kind of why they're trying to say, hey, no, we're not going to. I think they will because they're cowards, but in any event, they're at least trying to say, hey, just because we're stopping doesn't mean we're lowering.
That's correct. Well, and just pausing means that we're going to stay at a level that's still detrimental to the weak economic system in place. You know, if 5% Fed funds rate is still detrimental to the monster that they've created. But, you know, there's a lot of things on the horizon, Joe. I'll say this because I know that almost everybody disagrees. But just because the debt ceiling gets raised every single time doesn't mean it's going to get raised immediately this time around. And the Fed needs an emergency so they can lower rates. They need something so that when things go bad, they can have an excuse. It could be the debt ceiling, Joe. Everybody, all the prognosticators. Oh yeah, well, we all know they're going to raise the debt ceiling. Really? I mean, it always happens until it doesn't happen, Joe. And can you imagine if they hang that thing up all through June, all through July, all through August? What will happen? How many government workers are going to, you know, be happy with everything, you know, being furloughed and all these other things that can happen, right, Joe? I just get this funny feeling. Get a funny feeling, Joe.
It would be interesting. I'm on the other side, right? I don't think it'll happen, but here's the funny part, is if it did, the Treasury would actually have to pick, well, what are we going to default on? Right? We got they'll pay some things, but not others. I wonder what those others would be. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break.